Well, NOBLE it stands for National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, long title, but essentially years ago in 1976 is when it came about, full-fledged organization that involved executives from across the board, from whether it's federal agencies, state, local agencies, brought those folks together as a conscience of law enforcement, and one of the edicts of NOBLE is serving as the consciousness of law enforcement by being committed to justice by action. So that's what we do in a short snippet, and it's been fantastic to be a part of that organization. So the upcoming session is going to take place at NoHo's Hawaiian Cafe on July 6th at 6 o'clock, and basically we're trying to follow up from the last listening session that took place a couple of weeks ago. It's a fantastic time where we had people of color from all over the metropolitan area, from different parts of law enforcement, whether it was sworn or unsworn. And what we gathered from that is that people had a sense that there wasn't a lot of people of color working in law enforcement, and just to see that many people in a space gave them a sense of power, a sense of connection that they didn't have, and they're expecting more. So we'll be bringing Perry Tarrant, who is the former national president of NOBLE, coming out. So he's going to be speaking, as well as hopefully Sheriff Reese and a couple other folks. So we're going to have a great time with some good food and some discussion, and hopefully have some other interesting things that might come out of that to speak to other entities that need to happen. Like I said, people from all over the metropolitan area, including Vancouver, have come in, and you should have seen the look on their face when they saw all these people of color. They're going, "I didn't know you worked," or that there was another person even in Cornelius, Oregon, right? So you're like, wow. So there's this sense of belonging and comfort to that, to know that there's other people out there going through the same situations and issues that everyone else is going through, probably just even across the country. So very, very important to do that, to get a base and kind of act as a sounding board and actually come up with some solutions as to how we can be better servants of law enforcement of this country and of our communities. Well, the last listening session, it would be the first one we had, really bore out some of the issues that our folks, people of color, are having in a situation, given the things that are happening in our country today. We're trying to hold things in balance, whether it's being a part of the community but yet not part of the community, walking that tightrope where folks in our community relate to us in some ways, but we've been called sellouts and Uncle Toms and things like that, being very, very blunt about that. So it's been very difficult for us to walk that line, whereas you're a professional in an organization, guided by laws, guided by directions of the sheriff or whatever department you're in, and trying to keep that in tension is very difficult. And you find yourself wondering who you are, where you're at. Are you making the impact that you thought you were making when you first came into the organization or into law enforcement? So it's very difficult. And so you start to question yourself at this particular time when you have issues that are mounting within the country, that are polarizing between black and whites. You're talking about three aspects, whether it's community, the place where you're working, and then family. And oftentimes family don't see eye to eye with what you're doing as a law enforcement person. And of course they're part of the community of color as well, so they're identifying in a different way. So it's very important for us to stay mentally sharp and not get pulled into what I call drama, trying to stay out of that, because it's very easy to do, but also be a beacon for folks of understanding the other side of what it may be like, or what's happening, or why we do what we do, some of the training we do, because a lot of people don't understand or haven't been pervy to some of the things and the tactics that we use and why we use them. Well, one of the things we were looking at is making sure that we're embracing 21st century policing, but also doing small listening sessions. And I think it's important that we can't forget our allies, that it's not just black and brown people, it's everyone on board with this. We have lots of allies within the community, white, black, green, purple, yellow, whatever you want to call it. I try and stay out of the color business. Everyone is invited to that, especially this next meeting coming up, so that we can start to formulate some good plans, listening, not just listening, but also getting a chance to build friendships and knock down some of those walls that are up. Yeah, I believe MCO is taking the lead. You have Sheriff Reese, who's committed to diversity within the department, and you have a limited amount of diversity within the community abroad, as they would say, but trying to attract talent from all over, not only within Portland, but across the country. Making sure that policies are consistent, that there's fair and equitable hiring practices, and if we need to terminate, that's another issue that comes up, that's fair and equitable. Promoting people within the county, within the sheriff's office, is very important, and promoting people of color is extremely important within that. So he's done a great job, a fantastic job of embracing that and putting that as one of his tenets within the first tenets within the sheriff's office. Well, 33 years, it's been kind of an identity of who I've been, or at least part of an identity, and I don't take it for granted. And as these years have gone by, I'm very fortunate to be in an agency that cares about its community, cares about its employees, and that you can wear this with pride as you walk around. Like I said, people coming up to you, that total strangers, asking you, how's your day, or I got your cup of coffee, and I'm like, well, but those kind of things end up happening, and then I get a chance to pay it forward by buying them a cup of coffee. And then I remember a lady had some issues with not having enough money, and she was needing just a little bite to eat, and she wanted to get some coffee, and I ended up paying for it, and didn't know that she was in financial straits per se. And so she came up and she said, you don't know what that meant to me. So being able to pay that forward, wearing this uniform, and giving a sense that we as a law enforcement across the board, the majority of us have the right intentions. We're trying to do the right thing for the right purpose at the right times. Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add?
That's all I have.
All right. Thanks, Captain Peterson. Appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right.